Okay. Yes, we are recording. So don't worry, Angel, if you need to come back or if you need to watch this call, we'll send in the chat. But first step is being organized. That's one thing I struggle with. So I see a lot of twos. I see a couple of twos, some ones, which is awesome. But this is how I organize my projects, and hopefully, I did a good job, or you guys could just roast me in the chat here. So I'm gonna share my screen here in a second. Um, okay, let me share my screen. I'm usually a Google Meets person, so not like too crazy about Zoom. Zoom, okay, desktop. Okay, cool. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Okay, so we're just stop here. Can you guys see my screen here? Google, right? Okay, so we're gonna go open up our Finder. And who here who edits on hard drives? Who stores all this stuff on hard drives? Everybody does, hopefully. You don't have to. I really recommend to edit on hard drives, because you want to save your laptop storage. But when it comes to um, working on projects, just say you're shooting a church recap or you're just editing church recap. Usually, when you're editing a church recap for a service or people expect it the same now. It's kind of, I guess for me, I've always put it when I first started, get the video done that same day. When I first started, oh my gosh, how could I do that? Eventually, I figured out how to do that, and I did it. But the first key thing I learned was organizing your videos, your files. So if you see here, I'm just on. I have like four hard drives connected right now, but you can see right here, everything's organized as far as folders. I could find my business stuff here. All this stuff is organized. And if we go here, I'm gonna show you how I organize my my content. And if you guys don't have a process, maybe this process could help you guys organize things better. So for example, just say you shot a conference tonight. I'm gonna plug in my SSD here. This is the first step I do when it comes to organizing your content. So the first thing I like to do is just say you just shot a a service, or even before I even start editing, before the service even starts, I like making a folder before and organizing all my folders before the service. So just say we're shooting, give me a name for a conference or something. Give me a name, like a random name, like a generic, what would a, let me see the chat. Youth convention. Yeah, just youth convention, something basic. So what I'll do before every service, youth convention. Okay, boom. Youth convention 2025, something like that. So this is how I organize all my all of my folders and things like that. So I always like to start with the raw. This means the raw footage, where all your raw footage is going to go into. So this means your clips, all your clips that you shoot that night. Next up, I like to do music. This is where your music is gonna go. You just say you find a song on MusicBed or wherever you edit on. This is where we're gonna go. So we're on music. Next folder I like to put is Premiere or whatever um, software you edit on. So this is important to have your editing file. For example, because when I first started, I didn't know you could save your editing file in certain locations. So when I would try to open up a project again, just say I finished the project and a month passes by and I need to do revisions on it or I need to access it again. I did not know where to find that project file. And then I learned, oh, you could save project files in certain folders. So, for example, Youth Convention project file would go in Premiere or DaVinci or Final Cut, whatever it is. Next up, what I'd do here is I'd put my assets. What am I using? What flares, lens flares, am I going to use? Things like that. And then lastly, what I do is I put final. Final means your final product. You've exported the video. This is your final version. Or some people just like using just the name exports, things like that. So that's how I organize all my folders before even a service starts, before just a church starts, church service starts or conference. I like to have all this organized. Why? Because it saves me time. It saves me a couple minutes instead of just going and making all these folders and because you're trying to get this video out quick. you already have it ready and organized. So for example, this is all organized before the service. Just say you shot some clips and you need to dump. Now what I would do is everything's organized. I'd make a separate, tab here if you're using Mac, and then I would just get all my footage here, and then I'd just put all this stuff, all these clips in my raw. Okay, cool. All right. And actually, before I would do this, before I'd even dump my clips, what I'd do is I'd make a Premiere file. So this is a project we're going to be looking at today. And but just say you're starting a youth conference, and if I'm going too fast, guys, just feel free to stop me, unmute yourself because I can't see the chat right now. But just say you're starting a new project. I know this is might look different for DaVinci or Final Cut or maybe CapCut editors. But the process is pretty same. I've used DaVinci before, Final Cut. It's the same thing. Just say you start a new project, you title it Youth Convention, and I talked about where to put your files, your project files, because you could choose a location of where your project goes. This means where your file is, where you could open it, just the metadata of what that project is. So what I would do is I would go to Youth Conference here. I'd put the Premiere file here and I'd put it there. And I'll show you what that looks like right here. So I would open up a new project like this, but now when I come back to my folder, I already have some things organized. I have my Premiere file that's right here. So just say if I do close my project and I need to come back to it, I could just click this open and then I have my raw footage. So just like this. All right. This is some footage from our food festival we just had last week. So this is how I organize my my folders when it comes to services and any project for my business. This is how it is. It just makes finding things easier. Does anybody else do this? Do you guys do this for the most part? Let me know if you guys do this. No, Juan doesn't do it. Okay.
I haven't done it either.
Okay. Yeah. So this is like this is what people don't teach, but that is super important when it comes to editing your your projects. It's number one you have to learn is organization because this is where all your where you're gonna find all your content. And then if you look here, you could look here, everything's the same. Hopefully, see all my folders. You have to be consistent. Like there's a rogue one making me look bad. It's supposed to go in my raw folder right there. So everything is the same. So everything you guys could see, I try to be as organized as I can for my projects, all this stuff, everything. Name them. So when I do look for projects, oh my gosh, I've gotten so in trouble by people, church, my leaders, like, where's this? And I can't find it. I was like, where'd it go? Because I wasn't organized. So number one step when you're editing is organization. So pretty straightforward, guys. Just these five folders. And if you guys are doing some other stuff that might require more folders, then you could add more folders. But this is the main things. Oh, I forgot to add my final. Gotta add my or exports. I like to name them finals because it's just easy for me. So this is it. So final things like that. So now just say you have all this stuff. You have your timeline. You made your timeline on DaVinci or your Premiere. Now it's time to organize your content here for Youth Convention. So this is how you do. That's why it's important to make these folders because when you have everything, let's go right here. The cool thing about Premiere, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in DaVinci, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, or Final Cut, is that you could just drag these folders in here and it'll organize itself. So we'll let the files load here. So once you make folders on your, Finder, it converts the same thing to your editing software. Hopefully it does that in Premiere. Does it do that, Jeremiah, Tanya? Maybe. Okay, cool. It does that? Okay, so and then same thing with music. you could just drag and drop all this. This is what I do when it comes to all my all my all my folders. I only drag in the raw assets and final. So why is this important? Because this will help you stay organized in your editing your when you're editing your sequence, things like that. And for the most part, most of these terms I'm going to say today is translates to DaVinci, Final Cut, things like that. So we're going to see how I do it, how I organize my projects. So once you've organized your Finder, your folders here, you would make your Premiere file or DaVinci, open it up. How I do it is having folders just like you have in your Finder is the most important thing to do here to stay organized. So there's some different folders I like to add here, or just one more different folder. This is my sequences. Sequences. This just means the timeline. So for example, and just stop me here if you guys have any questions. Sequences just means your timeline here where you're gonna edit. So this is what I do. What I do is, for example, if you're editing a vertical video and you need to make the video vertical and horizontal, 16 by 9, 9 by 16, there's different sequences you could make. This is what I do. So you'd come here. There's this little, I don't even know what to call this. It says new item. You would open up your sequence folder bin. They're called bin in Premiere. You could make different things here. For me, I have pre-saved custom templates. They already have the sequence settings for it, aspect ratio, frame size. So, for example, there is a vertical for social media. And then what I would do here is it's so important to name your sequences. So I'd put youth convention recap, and I'd put um vertical or 9 by 16. I'm just put 9 by 16. 9 by 16. Super important. So, and then just say I need to make another sequence. Basically, your timelines are going to live in here. So when you need to look for them, you could find them immediately. And then you just do the same thing here. Or if you want to be really quick and not rename it, you could come here, right click it, duplicate it, open this up, and then just change the sequence settings here. Also, pro tip, it's also im important to know your aspect ratios when it comes to 4K. 4K horizontal is 3840 and then vertical 2160. And then if you want to do this is for horizontal, 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And if you want to flip it to vertical, you just do the opposite. So you'll see here it switches. So this is how I organize all my stuff. I would drag in the folders from the finders, raw, music, assets, and sequences, which is timeline. And this is what I do. And I make one more sequence actually. This is how I edit. Some people like to edit differently, but I found this is the most efficient for me. Is I like to either name this B-roll, depending what type of video, B-roll, B-roll, which is going to be a horizontal B-roll. And this, I have three sequences that lives here. So I have my B-roll, my my main timelines, and that's pretty much it. And honestly, you can make as many sequences as you want, depending how many videos you're going to make. But this is what I do when it comes to editing a youth recap. And this helps me look through the footage as quickly as possible so I could edit a video real quick. So what I'll do here is, if you guys noticed, I have my B-roll tab open, or you can name it raw footage. You can name it whatever you want. Why do I make this sequence? Because this helps me scrub through everything, all the footage real quick. So I could just be like, okay, if I need to find someone lifting up their hands and worshiping, I could just scrub through quick. Okay, just say this is one I need to capture. Okay, I need to if I get this clip, I just cut it here, and then I copy and paste. And what I do here is I copy it in my main timeline or paste it in my main timeline. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast? You guys getting that? So I have three sequences and of how I edit. I have my main timeline. Just forget, just focus on the horizontal one. So I have my main timeline where all the magic's gonna happen, where I'm gonna edit everything. And then I have another timeline where I'm going to scrub through the footage where I'm going to see what footage is best, which is called culling. The term is culling when you're just kind of looking through the best content, the best footage or pictures if you're doing it. And then you just pick the best you cut here. And I like to just cut here to say shortcut for cutting is C on Premiere. So you'd press C to cut. You'd cut that best portion here. I'm going to just cut this. You could click it and then copy and then paste it here. And then, so that's how I would um, lay out my Premiere file. And DaVinci, hopefully it's the same. It's important to have these bins so you're as organized as possible. For example, assets, I like making doing an asset folder because I have these film burns that I like using. Um, just say right here, and like throw them in, I like throwing them in here. They're assets that I use, and just say I want to find all my assets for the project. Instead of what I used to do is I just used to throw all the clips in here, no folders, nothing. And then I'd have to look like this through every single folder, assets, my sequences. It was a nightmare. So I like having this folder because all your assets, meaning your flares, your just like little logos or whatever it is in there. So now I could find my film burn as quick as possible. Does that make sense? I don't want it to be confusing. So number one, number one thing to learn when you're starting a project is organization. Organizing your file as neatly as possible and having different bins. So just this is how it looks for me. Assets, sequences, aka timelines, the music, what music you're gonna pick. So for example, let's just throw a random song in there. I don't know, let's just look one up here. Let's just actually let's just do here music. Let's just pick this one. Okay, you picked one. So now everything is organized. You know where your raw footage is at, music, your assets, and your sequences. So hopefully that makes sense. This is how and then now organization is done. This is how I edit and cull through all my footage. So the second step after organizing your Premiere file, DaVinci file, is culling the footage, and that's just picking the best of what you shot. So we're here on our timeline, youth convention recap. That is, we need to rename that. This is 16 by 9. Also, important thing, make sure you guys always have the proper name for the exports. 16 by 9. So like we said, I made my B-roll section or my raw footage. This is where all the footage we captured on one timeline would be here. How I edit videos so quickly and efficiently, and sometimes it's not always about how quick you could do it, but just how efficient you could do it, is like I said, I have my timeline and how I would start any project is looking through all the footage. And hopefully by this time, you guys know what video you guys want to make. You guys want to make a cinematic, fast-paced video. You want to make something more dramatic. You want to make something, something in between, change it up. So you guys should know what kind of footage you want to do. And then actually skip the step. So the first thing I like to do actually is obviously make this, but I like to add my music first because the way I edit best, and a lot of creators do, editors, is with music because you know the emotion, the vibes you um want people to feel. So honestly, this music is not going to be like used for worship, but I just kind of play it. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can you hear that? No? Okay, but it's like some corporate cheesy song. You're not going to use that for a recap unless you guys are beast editors and can make it look good. So first step I'll do, just pretend this is gone. Put my music, and you have this vision. Okay, I want it to be a fast-paced video, things like that. I know this is not the appropriate stuff, but just say you would cull through the footage and pick the best. So like I said, I would be like, okay, this clip is good. Unfortunately, I don't have any like recaps because my hard drive, I don't know if you guys have Lacy's. I don't like them anymore, but it doesn't work. So all my church stuff have is gone, sadly. But I'm making some more. I'm working on some. So what you do here is music on the timeline first because you want to pick the vibe, you want to set um, just the emotion, you want to set how you want the video. Just pretend this is some crazy cinematic song, and you would pick the clips you're looking for. So just say, I like her talking. What I'll do here, I'll just copy and paste it in here, and then you would just edit to the music. And sometimes I don't edit to the music right away. Sometimes I pick the best clips. Just say um, these two clips. Just say this one was good that I liked, and let's just say this one. This one. This let's just say him. Say I like the way he said something. Let's do like two more actually. Right here. Just say pastor. This is he's the goat. He's a goat pastor. He's Pastor Alvarez. I love him. So just say you picked your best clips. What I would start doing now is I would start um editing to the music. Let me just give you guys an example. Let me open up some projects that so you guys could get a visual representation of how that looks like, because this is not a good example. Let's see here. I think I have this old one, but it's not done. Yeah, that one's not done. Give me 1 second. Um, what is it? Let's go to this one. Okay. Okay. So let's go to this one. This is not a church related one, but it's the same concept. All this stuff you guys could apply to any type of video. This is a brand story video for one of my clients actually. And you guys will see once it loads up. So here. So you guys could see this project is crazy because we did a lot. So you see there's so many sequences here. So you'll see the same concept is here. All the folders, graphics are here, all the videos. This is just the raw footage. Here, audio, all the audio is here. Music is here. Everything, same concept that I use for my client projects, and I just took to church. So we'll see here. We'll break this down. So you guys can't hear audio, right? Can you guys hear this?
Very obvious.
No, okay. Let me try to fix that so you guys could hear it. Okay, 1 second. Start sharing my screen. Okay, but for the most part, while I'm figuring that out, do you guys have any questions as far as what I'm doing so far? Maybe for DaVinci editors, I know this might be a little different. Final Cut, are you guys getting it for the most part? I think the concept is the same, so you guys could take that to DaVinci or Final Cut. Let me share my screen one more time. Oh, share sound. Got it right here. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Please restart your Jazz Media Player. I think it's gonna make me restart the Zoom to share audio. Give me 1 second. If I get kicked out, I don't want to get kicked. It's saying please restart audio sharing application such as Media. Okay, 1 second. Can you guys hear it now?
My name is Bonnie Harry, and I'm
Yes, can you hear it now?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, great. All right, so you guys will see here how everything is laid out. So this is a good representation of how I lay out my timeline. Um, uh, it's not like it might look crazy, but it's super simple, I promise. I know right now you probably go, this is different from CapCut. But it's not as complicated as it looks once you understand everything. So this is how I edit all my stuff. So I'm gonna make a separate timeline so you guys could see. I don't want to touch this one. So just going to duplicate this one, and then we're gonna mess around with this timeline. So just say you're editing your church projects and you need to, um, you know, start editing the timeline. Like we said, we go to all raw footage, and you see here I did the same thing. All footage is here. All the footage is here. This is where I look through my best footage, things like that. It's a ton of footage, but it makes it faster than just kind of looking right here because some editors like to use um this left side. I used to do that, but I feel like it would take me longer to look for footage and just kind of scrolling, and it wouldn't load as fast. But so we'll look at this is Highland. Highland, it's a chiropractic brand story. So this is how it starts. This is a copy. Let's just move this here. Just say you just have your song here. And just out of curiosity, who do you guys do interviews at your church, like testimonies? Anybody do that? Interview the pastor? You got any of those? Jeremiah, nice, good. Those are always good. So here, you just put your song. Like I said, this is a corporate song. It's not going to be a worship song. I mean, you honestly, I think you could get away with using it for church, but like something very cheesy. This is a cheesy corporate. Um, so so we'll just look at the video and you'll see how I laid out and I edit this video to the music so you guys could check it out. We'll use the same concept here in a second. Let me move this up here. It's kind of dramatic.
Feeling in the moment right now with their pain, but how we can build the resilience for every day so that not every day is a challenge, it's just another day. My name is Dr. Paige Nelson Goodell. I am a chiropractor and a founder of our office.
My name is Dr. Austin Goodell. I'm a co-founder of Highland Family Chiropractic, and I'm a chiropractor.
Butte is a blue collar community. They're working really hard and using their bodies every single day. So for us, it's not just important for
I think the audio was lost. I don't know if anyone else had
God
that
and
same issue.
immediately when
Was the audio off?
Yeah, I think when you muted yourself, it went away.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. It's sorry, guys. Okay, let me put it. We won't watch it from the beginning, but we'll just watch like 15 seconds and you guys will see.
is Dr. Paige Nelson Goodell. I am a chiropractor and a founder of our office.
My name is Dr. Austin Goodell. I'm a co-founder of Highland Family Chiropractic, and I'm a chiropractor.
Butte is a blue collar community. They're working really hard and using their bodies every single day. So for us, it's not just important for how that person is feeling in the moment right now with their pain, but how we can build the resilience for every day so that not every day is a challenge, it's just another day. When you walk into
So I don't know. I'm pretty sure the audio's not the best because I think it's picking up from my mic. But you guys could see. I don't know if you guys could hear the music right properly, but the footage, the vibe goes with kind of like the upbeat, hopeful, um, um, kind of vibe that I'm trying to go for. And especially if you're getting audio, because I know it's pretty popular to get audio from the preaching. Um, this is why it's important to have your audio, your music first, because you could grab footage from what the preacher is saying or what the music is trying to make you feel, and it makes editing a lot easier. So let's look at the time a little bit. So they say something about resilience in your body. And you see here, so she said resilience in your body, and you see how I
every
picked
day is a
out
challenge, it's just another day.
let's see, what is it? So you see how I picked out
Moment
him
right
with his
now with
hands
their
up?
pain, we can build the resilience for every day so that
It kind of showed that like that what phrase she said, it matched what the vibe what she was saying. Like resilience, hands up, shows kind of that freedom, that ability to move your body. Same thing when it comes to editing a recap. Preachers talking about the Holy Ghost or dancing, whatever. You want to get people dancing. You want to get shots with emotion, excitement. You want to make sure what the music is making you feel li lines up with the visuals. and things like that. And there's another part that I'll show you guys here of a testimonial we got. Um, and the thing is, this type of video could also be made for church, like about church, about a lot of churches don't have this, which this is kind of going off topic, but a lot of churches don't have interviews about video that could be really good. Besides like the recaps that we see, the church services, there's also a tons of type different videos that we could be making for a church, like how our church got started, what's their mission, testimonials from people or that came to Jesus, all this stuff that we could do. So let me try to find another example.
Austin for the first time was, it just really did feel like he was a godsend to me. After injuries and then coming to the clinic, I'm more active, I'm climbing, I'm skiing again, and things just feel phenomenal.
The
Think so. Oh, this one I was looking for it right here.
Drive farther than that if I needed to, and I'm thrilled that they're here.
You're not a number. You're not just another spine that walks through the door. You are somebody to us. And you're going to feel that the second that you come in here.
So, the patient's talking about, how they feel, and there's a shot of them hugging, so it's important when it comes to any video, just say we're focusing on church, your visuals match the music. So why do I say to always put your music first? Is to get that feeling, and so you could pick visuals like I did here to match the music, or just say, for example, if you have audio here, like just grab her audio, just say here, you know, let's just grab this stuff here. We'll put it into our music. So just say you picked some clips that you like. Just cut it off here. So you have your audio, just say it's a preacher screaming, stuff like that, getting hyped. So let's just find this.
Butte is a blue collar community. They're working with
Another example is she mentioned the city, visuals of the city, kind of moving around. So things that align. Because if for example, if we're putting, just say talking about church, if we're putting a hype song, like really a cinematic song with slow handed worship, and even though the visuals could look amazing, the the way you feel is not gonna align. So a lot of the times what I see is I see a lot of energetic music and cinematics, things like that. Um yeah, Juan said using B-roll footage to evoke emotion. Yeah, exactly. Right. So your footage also helps evoke emotion. So I see a lot of um videographers in church who have this hype song and you're like, man, this feels gonna be a banger, the song is good, but then the visuals don't match the energy. It's kind of like, oh, something's missing. So you always want to match the clip to the audio or the music, the vibe. So that's important. So that's what I do. So let's look here. So just pretend I never did all this stuff and just pretend you just didn't see it. And there's this clip, there's music, more corporate. And you look through your footage,
Butte is a blue collar
and
community.
my mindset was, okay, she mentioned Butte, the city that she's from. So I need to go to my B-roll or off footage here. I need to go to my B-roll and look for footage of the city, something that will represent what she's saying or the music. What vibe am I going for? So you see, this is just kind of like the mountains. Yeah, it doesn't line up. I was like, okay, cool. Let's just say we picked this one. This is the city. This aligns pretty much to what she's talking about. I want to roll with it. So let's just say we copy and pasted it. I think I did. I didn't. So let's just click it right here. Copied it. Okay, cool. We have it right here. Just pasted it. And this is where you could kind of cut up. So she's mentioning the city, the song.
It's
Sorry, my computer is getting cooked right now. Can't handle all this stuff. Stop
Butte
playing.
is blue collar.
Just pretend it's like playing. Oh, there you go. So let's just say you find a good clip that you like. Let's just say it's this one. You listen to her. She's like, okay, Butte.
Butte is a blue collar community.
So yeah, so I would like this clip to show the
Butte
community, the city, so something like this.
Butte is a blue collar community. They're working really hard and
You see how she mentioned, you see, if you see the song, you see
community.
a little another detail. That's why it's always important to edit the song. You'll see, I don't know if you guys could see this. Also, I didn't know this for, I mean, I kind of noticed it, but when I was a beginner, I also edit to these sound waveforms. So you'll see there's a spike, and obviously you'll hear it in audibly, but you'll see there's a spike, meaning the audio has raised and level. So you'll see like you hear like a little boom here.
Community. Working really hard and using
I
their
don't know if you guys heard that. You guys hear that? Maybe, maybe not. But there is a like a boom.
working really
And what I like to do when it comes to music, I like to use the music, the audio, to help me use it as a transition visually. So, for example, in this song, there's an audible kind of transition in the song, like a boom, and that helps me transition into a new clip. So, when you guys listen to a song, there's always like a tempo, like there could always be a beat, and it's always important to also edit to that beat. That's what, because people expect when they learn that a song and they see visually that's going to change on a beat, they're hooked in now. So if it's like a song that's like a constant like beat and you're changing the clip per beat or something like that, people are hooked in like, okay, cool. I know it's going to change into a new clip. All right. So for example, here what I did in the original timeline was I I changed that. It's very, you guys probably can't hear it, but there's like a little boom and I changed it into the next clip. And then you'll see here that she's talking about going to work. And I put a B-roll shot of people driving to work because that is visually representing what she's saying.
using their bodies every single day.
So, and then, uh, yeah, so that's how I would start my project. That's how I do every project when it comes to um, editing, starting it. It's always you organize all your assets to folders, bins, which is super important. Then you make your sequences, which is your timeline. Your timeline's here. Sequences are here. Have a ton because we did a lot of work for this client. Um, and then you make a sequence for your main timeline, your project, which is just say your youth convention recap, and then you make another sequence with your B-roll, all footage, where you pick your best footage, and then you drag it into your timeline with the music and audio. I know we don't have much time, man. I wish we had more time. We had to end here at 8 because I do have a meeting after this, but I want to take time to. Do you guys have any questions as far as Premiere? Do you guys
I
want to
have a
learn?
question.
Yes, Tanya.
So whenever you're editing like the clips of the interviews and then with the music, how long would you recommend for whenever you're recording someone speaking, how long would you recommend it to be before you switch to that next footage?
Like, you are talking about the actual people talking, or you're talking about the B-roll footage that goes on top over the.
So like first like the footage of the people talking and then to switch to the B-roll. So like how
Oh, got it. So, for example, let's just so I understand you correctly. Just say it's this. You mean from her
Day. So for us,
to B-roll?
it's not just
Is
important.
that what you mean? Okay, cool.
yeah.
It just all depends on what the speaker is saying and what kind of style and vibe you're going for. Some people like, just say, for example, some people, if they want a dramatic effect or dramatic vibe or emotion to be shown on what the person is feeling visually, they'll leave the camera on that person longer. So it just depends on what style you want to go for. But usually what I like to do is if the person that's speaking is speaking about something that could be a little hard to visualize without B-roll, I would put B-roll there. But if it's something that's pretty easy, like she's talking about, I don't know, corn or something that's super random, elotero or whatever. Um, I don't know why I thought about it, so random. But yeah, something um, you know, that's easy without B-roll, I would leave it on her or whoever you're interviewing. But usually when it comes to interviews, how it works, just say you're interviewing your pastor and you're doing this about video about the church. The rule of thumb is you always want to leave the first couple of seconds on, just say he starts singing, "My name is Pastor so and so." You want to start with the visuals of your pastor or whoever you're interviewing to establish who the audience is listening to and how they look like. And then you can switch to constant B-roll. And for example, if you want to switch back to your pastor because he's going to say something dramatic, or for example, this my client who's going to say something and there's something visually you could see on her face or expression, maybe she's laughing, you would switch back. But usually for the most part, when you start interviews and things like that, you always want to start it with your subject to establish who they are, how they look like, and then you could get into the B-roll. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Does anybody have any other questions as far as a process, organization, how we edit sequences? Or you guys understand it for the most part? Just put a one in the chat if you guys are getting it. Let me see. Okay. Brandon said, "Hey Max, I was wondering what sort of organization you would recommend that mainly does short form reels rather than larger videos. I'm always doing reels, so I don't like having to make so many new project files and having to put everything in bins again." Ah, I totally get that, Brandon. It's annoying. So you're saying, for just to ask you, so you're saying you want to keep everything in one project file. Like for example, just say you have your church Sunday, um, just say is that what you're saying? You want to keep everything in one project file so you don't have to make new files and then make this organization do this. Is that what you're saying, Brandon? Yes, would that be best? So I've thought about that, Brandon, because I'm like, oh, it's so annoying having to do this. You have to, but honestly, um, I've never done it, but I wouldn't recommend it for so many projects. I think what you could do is you could do it per month. For example, you could do church, uh, July church content for and only do it for July. I wouldn't do it for so much because it could get super messy. I know it sucks to have to do it every time, but it helps, trust me, with being organized. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend to do it for like every single project, but if you just say you only make 2 videos per Sunday and you only make them on Sunday, you could do a project file for example, let's go here. You could just close your project. You could just be like, all right, I'm just going to do because that's what I've done that with my clients. July, just go. My church is called TFTV, July TFTV content. So you could have your month content. I want to go past that because then things could get really messy. So does that answer your question? Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, that's true. And there's so much in the project. Yeah, it tends to slow down. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'd recommend for sure. Is to just do it monthly if you don't want to do all the stuff. But if you can, I get it. If it's just one tiny project that you're gonna do real quick for the month, I wouldn't even bother making a project file. But yeah, for larger projects, you definitely have to make new ones. I wouldn't recommend kind of stacking it together. But we have a couple minutes left. Do you guys have any other questions? I wanted to get into color grading and how to color grade, but that's like a beast in itself. But does anybody have any questions about how the process works? How to, get your footage, call it, how to edit to the music, anything?
I do have a question just because I'm
Yes.
a beginner.
Yeah, yeah. No
What is
worries.
your recommendation as far as like being able to, start to elevate our church's content so that we can eventually get to this level as far as like resources or like we use our phones sometimes to like gather video content or like we have like one camera. So what would you recommend for us to be able to like get good footage in order to edit?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with, I mean, when it comes to editing footage, when it comes to getting better, especially with their iPhone's good. I'm not gonna, there's some really good iPhone videographers. I know we have one here. I'm not sure if she's here. Her name's Evelyn. She's a beast. I've seen her on iPhone. I'm super surprised how good she is on iPhone. But what I recommend, is if you don't have a camera, do you have a camera?
Yeah, I just have like a general.
Yeah, no worries. And you're asking how to get better with editing or just in general videography? So I understand your question.
Yeah, in general, videography, like I'm still a beginner, just being able to just export them into like
Yeah.
CapCut.
Yeah, no.
Um, but sometimes like the quality isn't always best. So I don't know if there's like any, equipment recommendations or even like different resources for when I do try to do Premiere
Yeah,
to
yeah.
those light leaks or like the film burn
Hmm.
effects.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to getting better, and I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into it. But if you're using a camera, the number one thing that we always recommend is getting your settings right, understanding all your settings. Because do you feel like you understand all your settings and how to expose and how to light things and, when to use this exposure for the most part?
Just very, very general. No,
Very
I'm not.
general,
I would
yeah.
not say that I'm very much a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. So the number one thing to getting the best out of your camera is learning your settings. So for example, there's white when it comes to your settings, it comes white balance, ISO, aperture, shutter speed. And if you could learn how to dial those in, um, then your footage will look a lot better. So I mean, there's a whole I could go deep on this, but we're short on time. But the one thing I could recommend is learn your settings. So when you're in any church environment, you know what shutter speed to do, you know what a white balance to match it to. And the way I got better was copy someone that you like, that you look up to, their content. There is an art of copying someone. It sounds bad, but initially, you copy their style, but eventually you get better because you're looking up to a standard that you want to get to, and then eventually you get your own. So look at someone that you see and try to copy, mimic their style, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this different like them, and you'll learn something new every time. But that's what I recommend. Copy someone you like. People will look down on it, but I recommend it. Obviously, don't copy them to like and take credit, but that's how you learn. There's like an art to it. But oh man, I wish we had more time, guys. I'm so sorry. I do have a meeting at 8. We gotta go over some camp. Man, this we could go in depth. We're gonna have another video call. We're gonna go into color grading, all this stuff. But hopefully you guys got something. I hope you guys learned like a little nugget, a gem, or something. Organization, how I do it. I know I wanted to get into super detail, but I couldn't because of time. But I do have to run here at 8. But honestly, I appreciate you guys coming on. And yeah, Juan says there's a lot of resources on YouTube as well. Definitely have a lot of creators that I could recommend and send your way, Rena. So just shoot me a DM on Slack, and I'll send you my favorite creators where I learned. But alrighty, guys, let's pray and then let's have a good rest of our nights. I know some of you guys are probably on the East Coast, so it's a little later. I'm not sure. But let's go before the Lord. I'm super thankful for everybody that was here. Thank you for giving me your time. And then we'll have another call soon and we'll stay active in the chat. Lord, we come before you one more time, thankful and grateful for this time that you've given us to gather, to learn, to improve our skills. Lord, I just ask that you bless everyone that's here, Lord, that has an open heart and mind to just want to improve, Lord, to take these skills back to your local church so that we may grow, Lord, your kingdom. We may bring people to you with our skills, with our ministry, Lord. Help us, Lord, to grow this community. Help us to be united, Lord. Let's continue to worship your name with our ministry. Let us have a good rest of the night. Keep us safe. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen. Alrighty, guys. Take care. God bless you, everybody. And I'll see you guys later. God bless you guys.
Thank you. Bye.